We are live. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Black Coffee, Honey and Grits. If you've listened to us before, if you've been here before, stopped in through before, welcome and thank you for supporting us and thanks for coming back. And for those of you who have stumbled upon this channel for the first time and wondering what it's about, stick around. So we are a group of four women. We are Black Coffee, Honey and Grits. And Black Coffee, Honey and Grits, ladies, we are the black coffee. Our lips drip with honey, and sometimes we got some grit, but we always have Sass Class, and we have all of that ass. Well, some a little bit more than others. And we're going to talk about that tonight. And we're here sharing our thoughts. We're here sharing our experiences. We're not here telling anybody what to do, but we want to talk about some stuff. And tonight, I want to talk about body positivity. It's not a new concept, but this weekend I experienced some things and just had my mind thinking a little bit. And I just want to talk about it with my girls, with my women friends here. And so let's introduce ourselves, shall we? We'll start with you, Maisha, then Dr. Jemecia, Shellie. Back to me, I'll introduce myself and we'll open up the topic and start talking. Deal? Go ahead, Maisha.
Yeah, hey everybody. My name is Maisha, also known online as Devi Maisha, and I am the CEO of Sensual Energy Alchemy, which guides Black women into their confidence and power through pleasure. Tossing the mic.
I'm Dr. Jemecia, the nurse practitioner extraordinaire. I'm also your intermittent fasting and mindset coach, YouTube influencer, speaker, author, all the things. And I'm one fourth of Black Coffee, Honey, and Grits. Passing it to you, Shellie.
Hey, you guys. I am Shellie A. Carter out of New Jersey, the founder and CEO of Housing Ministry LLC. In that space, I get to use my real estate banking and life insurance licenses at a national level to help people make home ownership attainable and sustainable. Carmel?
Hello. I am Carmel Jean-Francois, owner and founder and CEO of CFIT Coaching, working with individuals who have come to realize that they have a food and sugar addiction. And I guide and assist them in adapting a whole food, plant-based lifestyle in order to combat the food addiction and the sugar addiction and also whatever chronic conditions that come along with it. I'm here to encourage everybody to add more plants to your plate. And with that said, I came across some people this weekend that were not eating the plants. I'm making light of it. However, this body positivity or body neutrality movement, body positivity is feeling positive about your body no matter what size that you are. Neutrality is pretty much feeling not negative or positive about it. This is who I am. This is how I come up. This is how I show up, which is they're all beautiful. And I think everybody should love what they look like. I think everybody should care what they look like, how they show up, what they present themselves as. And I know for a long time, I did not like the body in which I lived. And it's not a good feeling, whether you are what most would consider obese or whether you are what people would consider skinny. If you don't love your body, it's just not a comfortable place to be because we all live inside this shell, right? And this is how we present ourselves. And if you don't like what the world is seeing, if you don't like what you see, never mind what the world is seeing. If you don't like what you see in the mirror, it's just not a good place to be. And I know all too well that feeling. In fact, when I work with women, especially women, I always tell them, I want you to love what you see when you look in the mirror. It's so important. And if that means that you consider yourself vain, so be it. I will claim vanity every day of the week. Because it's just, I want to love what I see when I look in the mirror. I think it's important. And no matter what size anybody is, I think it's important. However, I'm a little concerned for some of our sisters out there. I really, really am. I was at an event that I just saw a lot of unhealthy looking people. I did not look at their lab results. I did not look at their labs. I did not have a conversation with them. I did not see them even eating. I just saw how they showed up. And it was disturbing to see because I don't think human beings were meant to be that size. And I'm talking about this is the extreme. But what I did see was a wealth of confidence, which was Again, a beautiful thing to see. I was never even half that size, and I didn't walk around with that much confidence. They had more confidence, it seemed, in their pinky than I had in my whole body at one time. And but I was a little concerned. I was a little concerned that we are sending out the wrong message when we talk about body positivity and to love your body, and even seeing the ads that are on television now showing women of all different shapes and sizes in underwear. Now, don't get me wrong, like, everybody needs love, and everybody deserves a nice pair of underwear that feels good. But when we show the world that, hey, this is normal, I honestly don't believe that that's normal. I don't believe that that's how human beings should look, how they should, how our bodies were meant to be. I think our bodies are in a state of shock because of the foods that we're giving it. And for that reason, we are coming up obese, especially Black women. I see it. We live in a culture, in a society here. We're in New York. Maisha's in New York. Shellie's in New Jersey. Dr. Jemecia is in the DMV area. But we live, I think, I would say that we all live in a pretty urban enough area where we see a little bit of everything. We see everybody from those who would be considered obese or fat to those who are super, super in shape and everything in between. But there are, like middle America, there's people who really don't have access to the plants that I'm always referring to that we put on our plates. They don't have access to that. All they have is access to the fast food chain restaurants, or the things that they sell in the supermarket shelves, or what we call the bodegas. And having access to quality foods is a problem. And it's not nothing that I know how to solve right now. I can only work with one person at a time, and spread the word. And so basically, I wanted to talk about that. Is body positivity promoting unhealthy lifestyles? Is it promoting obesity? Is it promoting chronic diseases and conditions, which we are dying of, especially Black women, especially heart disease, hypertension, stroke, all of these? So I think it is. I think it's sending out a message saying that, oh, I look like those women on TV. I'm going to be positive about what my curves, and it's a lot. It goes much more in depth than just having some curves, having tits and ass, and having boys love me for it. I think that it's something that we need to talk about as a society and address. So what say you? Any of you who wants to grab that mic and talk about it?
I don't think body positivity and the fab go together at all. I think that it's important to be healthy, but I don't tie them together. There's a BBL community, there's this forced beauty,
Mm-hmm.
monetizing their bodies community. There's the Food and Drug Administration that's out there putting sugar and toxins in everything that we eat and making foods that are inexpensive more accessible than healthy foods, and paying farmers not to grow healthy foods, penalizing them when they grow healthy foods. And ironically, I've recently in different conversations researched this because it was mentioned, and I needed to find out for myself. And it took me seconds to find out that farmers who were insisting on not selling good items were literally being penalized, being threatened to be put out of business. So, and I can also tell you that I have a young man who was recently hospitalized. He's 26 years old, approaching 400 pounds. And when the conversation was had with him, he said, I can't, he said, all I can afford is the noodles and the everything else. And I'm going to the man just because he's in my life. This is real life, what we're talking about, right? So if you are overweight, I do not personally subscribe to the idea that you should live in a moo. I have a big old set of assets behind me. I got twin assets behind me, and they are assetting. And it is something that my mother still says, you going out like that? I'm like, lady, it is hot. No, I'm not putting on a coverall. I'm not you gave me this, deal with it. It is 81, 91, 90 something degrees outside. I am going to go put on my shorts and my tank and go run my errands. And I am not going to cover myself down because, so for some of us, it's confidence. For some of us, it's necessity. For some of us, it's limitation and budget. For some of us, it's addiction. For some of us, it's the availability, the ease. How
Mhm.
easy is it when I'm out in the street and I say I want to eat whole food, plant based, or I want to eat healthier, when there's a menu of 60 items and there's only 8 choices that are completely tasteless on the item for me to just go get. It's a whole lot of things. So I would love to explore breaking this down a little bit and not
Mhm.
just putting it in a bucket of body positivity, because I don't think that it's inappropriate for me to put on a beautiful dress because I'm a different size than Maisha or Dr. J or you. So
Mhm.
body
Mm-hmm.
positivity to me means accepting the body that I'm in and
Mhm.
making it as look as wonderful as it possible, feeling confident where I am, but it does not grant me an excuse to allow myself to to be unhealthy. And I'm going to stop there and let someone else chime in,
No,
but I
I
really
appreciate.
think there's a lot in there and we can't
Mhm.
put it in one little box.
Nope, nope, you're absolutely right. Yeah, we're just barely scratching the surface. So,
Mhm.
no, I loved what you said because you answered my question. And everybody's answer, everybody's an individual. So, I totally understand that, Shellie. And I loved what you said. Like, this shouldn't keep me from putting on a dress and feeling pretty as the next person. But,
Mhm.
so my question, I'm just wondering, does it promote unhealthy lifestyle? You answered the question nice and clearly. For you, no, it does not, because there are other things that's promoting other factors involved in the way we look, in the way we eat, and the choices that we make. I agree 100%. Anybody else?
I want to add to that, and I love what you said, Shelley. I think that there is such a fine line
Yeah.
to what we're trying to discuss here today. Uh, and I think what has come about from body positivity, or how it came about, was or is tied to mental health, and it's tied to self-esteem, and it's tied to confidence. And it's 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 a very sneaky thing that happens when someone says to you anything about your weight that is negative, that makes you feel less than, that makes you feel like because you're eating, you're not going to be looked at as being pretty or accepted. And so a lot of mental health and depression and anxiety is surrounded by the messaging.
Mm-hmm.
And the messaging initially, um, and I'm just going to speak as a Black woman, initially was, if you were not skinny, if you were not flat booty, flat chested, you couldn't model. You couldn't be a model, right? And so it excluded a lot of people, a lot of beautiful people, a lot of beautiful curvy people that happen to be Black, that happen to look like me. So there's a lot, like Shelly said, there's a lot in there. And then I think that because the Food Drug Administration is so sneaky and so money hungry and knows how to market and knows how to get money regardless, and knows that Black people spend the majority of money. And then there's redlining, and then there's all these things that are happening. So I think that it's very much something that needs to be discussed. Yes, I believe sometimes body positivity, the messaging on it, perpetuates a lifestyle that's not healthy. And I also think that body positivity is necessary for our mental health, for us to feel positive in this society. where we've been ostracized for so long because of our big booties, because of our lips, because of our skin color, because of so much. And I'm only speaking from a Black woman's point of view. Um, but I believe that body positivity can be and is a good thing for our mental health.
Yeah.
I believe it could be a bad thing if we're not educating along with body positivity regarding our health, regarding diabetes, regarding hypertension, regarding um, uh, insulin resistance. There has to be a balance, and that's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to have a conversation that's a balanced conversation. So if I have to answer, does body positivity perpetuate unhealthy lifestyles? I'm going to say yes and no. If there's no education around how we should live, how we should try to balance out our lifestyle, right? No matter what some of us do, no matter what, we're going to be curvy, we're going to be a little bit thick, we're going to be healthier than most. So I don't know if I answered that at all, but but there's a lot of moving parts, like Shellie said. And I think that there are parts of this body positivity movement that allows us to be lazier than we should when it comes to our health. But I will take that over depression, mental health, anxiety, ostracizing us, all of those things at the drop of a hat.
100%.
I mean, do you understand what I'm saying?
Oh,
So
yeah.
there is a balance. We do need to teach them. We do need to educate on what healthy is, what it looks like, how we can obtain it. But we should do it with love and not any body shaming, and with actually educating people as to how to get there. And I think that your program is one that does that. As far
Thank
as
you.
how to eat, how more plants on the plate, what it does for us, how it benefits us, without even discussing weight. Because if we do the things we're supposed to do with our health and our eating, the weight will take care of itself.
100%. 100%. Because, yeah, I really believe if we love our bodies and how our bodies treat us and what our bodies do, when you love something, you take care of it, you nurture it, right? We love our children, we take care of it, nurture it. If I'm a person who's into plants or animals, I love it, I take care of it, I nurture it. And there's a disconnect somewhere along the way. Maurice says it's a really interesting conundrum. Anti-shaming and body positivity are closely related but vastly different. Does it promote an unhealthy life? Yes, because it says be yourself regardless of size or health. So Maisha, I'm coming over to you. Would love to hear your thoughts.
A lot of what Shellie and Dr. Jemecia said. Do I think body positivity perpetuates unhealthy lifestyles? No. I think the stress of being Black in America perpetuates unhealthy lifestyles. I think the redlining and poverty perpetuate unhealthy lifestyles. I think the lack of education perpetuates unhealthy lifestyles. I think what body positivity allows is for Black women to feel like they are beautiful in their skin when we have gotten the message for over 500 years that we're not. That our bodies are not okay because they don't match a European version of healthy. And that's not healthy either, because European women, the thinness, by the way, the idea of a thin woman as healthy came about when, and I think I've talked to you all this, to tell you this before, but for those who don't know, who are watching, came about when wealthy men in Europe wanted to be able to say that their wives did nothing. And so they wanted them to be able to be thin and could be carried around because they weren't working. Because Irish women were working, Scandinavian women were working, and those are not small women. But this idea of thinness got attached to an idea of wealth. That gets perpetuated down the line and affects us, where the majority of us don't have a European build. I mean, I happen to have somewhat of one, but the majority of Black women do not have a European build. So when we're talking about health versus aesthetic, those are two very different things. We can be healthy and be large. We can be healthy and large. That is a fact. And there are Black women carving up their bodies trying to fit an aesthetic of beauty because they want to look like this image of thin waist and the boobs and the ass, and are stuffing themselves with things. Carmel, you mentioned if you love something, you take care of it. We have been the victims of misogynoir and self-hate for centuries. From our hair to our lips to
100%.
our noses to everything about us. And so the idea of body positivity, the thing that I love about it, it is allows us to have space to love the skin we're in, regardless of the size of it. And it's not up to me to say, it's really not what's I can have an idea of what's healthy for one person, but there are Eskimos who are larger, there are Polynesians who are larger, there are other cultures outside of the United States that are just larger, and they move and they're eating fruits and vegetables and fish, but they're not small, and they're never going to be small. So I think when it comes to body positivity, I don't think that's the culprit for the unhealthy lifestyles. We had unhealthy lifestyles long before that movement, way before that
Oh,
movement,
for sure.
right? Because, like I said, just being Black in America causes a lot of stress. But what I do think is that we need education, as was said, on what healthy is for the individual person, so that that person can determine for themselves what they would like to do and how they would like to live and how they would like to move.
Right.
Yeah, unfortunately, because marketing is so strong and so in our faces, and because the way clothing is made, unfortunately, because of that, most people are not really deciding for themselves, what do I want to see when I look in the mirror. And even like, okay, so you say like Black women have curves, Black women this and that, and yet I grew up very, very differently, and feeling like somehow Blackness missed me, and not liking what I look like. And I know, Maisha, you've spoken to
Same.
that as well.
Yeah.
And thinking, well, where are where are my tits and ass? Well, I had boobs for sure, and I didn't want my boobs. I wanted an ass. I wanted curves, and I joke like that till this day, saying that I'm built like a 12-year-old girl. Like, to this day, I joke about that, but it comes from a place of feeling that shame. And getting to a point where I was gaining weight, and I didn't like that either. So I was stuck someplace in the middle. So when I finally lost weight and did it in a healthy way, in a healthier way than what most would consider, then that's when I really started falling in love with what I looked like. But it took me into my 30s to get there, and constantly being reminded that I was either too fat or too skinny, having to lose weight, and people telling me, Carmel, now you're just too skinny, and feeling it on both ends. Like, I was the fat twin, I lost weight, now you're too skinny. And people constantly imposing their views about my body. And my boyfriends did it, my friends did it, people that I didn't know did it, people that was just like, Carmel, I noticed from afar that you lost weight. Is everything okay? It's like, why are you watching so closely? And why do you feel like you can comment on the way that I look? Right? So for a long time, that body positivity was nowhere in my life. And that's why I feel like it's a beautiful thing, no matter what size the person is, that they have that level of confidence in how they carry their weight. Body positivity can be embracing a high vibrational. No matter the body type, everyone should be accountable and be honest with ourselves when it comes to our health. But I feel, realistically, ladies, I feel like there's a disconnect between how I feel about what I look like on the outside and what I'm feeding my body on the inside. I really believe there's a disconnect. And that's why I believe that it does perpetuate a unhealthy lifestyle. Because I remember when I was unhealthy about my weight, because even though I was skinny and people were telling me I needed to look like this, I was still eating unhealthy, wanting to be skinnier. I went through it all and was never any on one side. And so it's just interesting. So I do appreciate this conversation. I think I saw somebody wanting to say something. I think it was you, Maisha.
Well, yeah, and real quick, if anyone promotes body positivity and neglects their health overall is hypocritical and low vibrational. I mean, you know, that's um, you know, the reason for the body positivity is so that there aren't those ups and downs, because as women we are constantly subjected to someone else's opinion of what our body is supposed to look
Yeah.
like, whether
Yeah.
we are too large or too small. We
Too
are
big, too small,
always
too short, too
subjected
tall.
to
Yeah.
what someone else thinks. So if I love my body, whether it is 220 pounds or 150 pounds, that's all that matters. That's it. And because the stress of trying to lose weight can cause health problems. The stress of not loving my body can cause health problems. But if I'm happy with my body and there's less stress, I might actually have less health problems, even though I don't look like what someone thinks that I should. Now, there are women in their 50s and 60s who still do not love their bodies, who still are doing all kinds of things to
Make
look
it look and keep it a certain way.
right. And it's not gonna happen. We are going to age. We're supposed to age. And body positivity says, I'm okay with that too. I'm okay with the fact that I'm in my 50s and 60s and my body is in its 50s and 60s. And that's just part of the process. So that's one of the reasons why I think the body positivity movement is important for Black women, is so that when family comes to you and says, you're getting too skinny, it's like, I care not. You've gained 10 pounds. Well, look at that. I sure did. And how are you doing today? How about you focus on your body and what you want your body to look like? And don't be so worried about what my body looks like. That's what body positivity does, I think.
And
And
can we
I
throw
think
in there? Can we toss in the number of people who are taking prescriptions, plugging into prescriptions to lose weight? You know,
Oh,
it's. I remember for me, it's been a lifelong thing. It's being the Black girl in the sea of white European or Asian girls, where I'm the big one, but I'm not big for me. I'm not big for my age. I was downright getting threatened if I didn't eat. I didn't even know that your body fat was a thing to worry about. You know, you're young, you're an athlete, and your tone, my family's telling me I got to eat more, but all the girls are telling you you're too big, or you know, we're cuter than you because, well, I'm sorry, I'm a Black girl, I've got a booty. Then you go further in life, you lose weight for whatever reason. You just said it. You know, you've lost too much weight, but really, no, I didn't. I lost weight. Yes, I love how I look. And who are you to tell me that I don't look good when people who don't know me say I look good? So there's that's where I'm talking about the layers, because then we have these family dynamics and these standards and expectations, these control mechanisms, because it's a control mechanism when you do these things to try to crawl into people's brain space. You know, and then there's now where there's all of these things, and I'm aging, right? You said, make sure I've gained weight, I've lost weight. This is where I'm at. And when you see me, somehow or another, you're slipping in, oh, well, you know, I'm taking Ozempic, or I'm taking whatever the other one is. And, you know, I've lost 20 pounds. Do you want to know the name to my doctor? No, ma'am, I don't. I just lost almost 20 pounds, and all I did was change what I was eating. And it's been weeks, and it's still off of, I've only put 2 or 3 pounds back on. Can you say that after you stop taking your drugs? Like, you know, there's a level of potential pettiness and nitpicking and things that we could start coming at each other, when we should just leave each other alone and maybe just ask, how's your health? How Are you happy? Are you healthy? Have you checked up on yourself? You know, can we have that simpler, a little lighter, kinder conversation versus picking at each other over each other's size?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you got it.
I,
Go ahead.
I agree with all of everything that's been said. And what you about to get it in trouble about? Anyway, we'll see.
Well, no, that's not even his comment. He said we should drop the trendy body positivity and focus on anti-shaming. That's key. But this one isn't saying, hey, I'm a Black girl, I'm going to be thick, is akin to saying, hey, I'm big boned. I don't know. In our community, it might be similarly, but genetically speaking, just so everyone is clear, genetically speaking, the folks from which we came from are not tiny people. They're not necessarily, Pacific Islander people, but they're not tiny people. And I think that part of the body positivity movement, I think for some Black women is some of their way, without even realizing it, some of their way of smacking the white inferiority complex in the face. Now, maybe doing some of them harm, right? That they don't realize, but it's their way of saying, fuck your beauty standards. I don't need to be a size 6. I don't need to be a size 8 to be beautiful. I'm beautiful how I am. And when I get good and ready, however I choose to decide what to do with my body, daggone it, I'm gonna decide what I want to do with my body. But you all aren't gonna Victoria's Secret model me into shaming me to think that I'm somehow less than. And we do have an issue with fat phobia in this country. We really do. And I think that this may be a way of Black women, as Dr. Jemecia said, feeling confident in themselves and just saying, I don't want none of you. I'm gonna just do what I want to do. But like I said, it might be to the detriment.
When you say fat phobia, what do you mean?
Well, the most discriminated people in the world are fat people.
Yes, 100%.
There's a fear. People have a fear of getting fat, because if you're fat, it means you're less than, you're not as intelligent, you're not as beautiful. There's this whole culture that we have around that.
It's not true.
I said it's a lot tied to it.
Yeah. And so there's this huge fear. It's one of the reasons why women are always on the scale daily. Why after they have a baby, I gotta snap back. And I've always been like, snap back to what? Your body has just changed completely. You think you're gonna look after your baby just like you did before the baby? Your body just, and why do you need to? Why do you need to look like that? Right? And because there's an idea that, well, if I gain weight, my husband will leave me. Everything will fall apart. No one's gonna like me.
What about,
and it's true.
What about, because I really like the way I looked in the mirror before. Like, I really like the way I looked before.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that, except for some women, there is no snapback. And so the question becomes, can you accept the body you have now and work towards being healthy? Right? Can you accept? Women's feet grow a foot size sometimes when they're pregnant.
Yeah, mine did happen.
They'll go from a size 7 to a size 8.5.
Yeah, I did happen.
You're not going back. So can you accept your size 8.5? Your hips. I had no hips. And now will I ever get back down to a 38 hips? I don't think so. The bones have literally shifted. I could be lamenting that, right? Or is it, can I accept the body that I have now? And it doesn't mean don't be healthy. I think there's a difference. And I think that what body positivity says is, let me accept who I am right now, and then I'll decide if I want to make a change or not. But let me at least love the body I have in this moment.
Yes.
And I think that's important.
Love and respect. That's so important.
I think that's important. It's very important. I just think that the body positivity perpetuating unhealthy lifestyles can be a thing, and sometimes is a thing for someone who is not seeking health or to be healthy.
Yeah,
we have to be very careful how we educate people so that we're not being a part of shaming,
Right.
that we're actually loving each other into a healthier lifestyle, not trying to
100%.
browbeat anybody into being something that they're not,
Yeah.
or
And
that
that's what,
society says we should be. But
and
but let me be clear. Being excessively obese and excessively overweight is not healthy. But also, let me be clear, it doesn't mean it's not beautiful.
right.
So there's that fine line.
There's that fine line, but to me, there's a contradiction there, because if you're obese, in my
You
mind,
mean obese? You can't be obese and beautiful?
no, 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 no.
Okay.
I feel like if you're obese and unhealthy,
Mm-hmm.
it's not to be. I want to watch my words carefully, simply because I believe everybody's beautiful. Let's just say that, right? Everybody's beauty. There's beauty in everybody. We're all human beings. However, I feel like it's so celebrated that it can give somebody the impression or idea that that's okay, and maybe health is not as much of as
Issue.
important as it should be, not as much of an issue. I just feel like there might be some people that are confused by it, that says, you know what, I'm being celebrated. Yeah, in one aspect, I might not have the best health, but in another aspect, I'm being celebrated. So you know what? I'm just going to keep eating my Snickers. And that's where I'm kind of thinking, not that the person is not beautiful, right? Yeah. So there's
I think we're
certain
saying the
aspects
same
of it.
thing, just a little different.
This is a little different.
Well,
I
so I
think we're
want to,
saying the same thing, just a little different.
so though, even the assumption that someone is eating Snickers is a thing.
Yeah.
Because there's a difference between my 600-pound life.
Right. That's
Right?
what you need to get at. Right.
My 600-pound life, it's clear that there are mental issues going on for sure. This is like hoarding with food. But see, there's this assumption that if you're, and I'm not talking about my 600-pound life people, that's extreme.
Thing.
We're talking about, kind of the average, unfortunately, if you will. But there's this assumption that if you see somebody who's big, the assumption is they're eating Snickers and Oreos.
I'm not talking about big. I'm not talking about big. We were just talking about the obese.
Right. So if we're talking about people who are like 300 plus pounds, I don't see them being celebrated anywhere. The people who are being celebrated, if anything, I don't see celebration of that. I see acceptance of that's where that person is. But I have not seen anyone in any place just say anything differently to them than they would anyone else. So if I'm out with a group of friends and one is a little bigger, and I have friends of different sizes, and somebody's like, for the bigger one, yeah, you go, girl, you look great. For the slimmer one, they're going to say, yeah, you go, girl, you look great. There's no more celebration for any of them. There's just acceptance that these women are beautiful. I haven't seen that. So maybe I'm not clear on what that looks like.
Well, there's also clothes in their sizes where there wasn't before. When I was a young lady, if you were over a size, the sizes went up to 12, and then you could go get up to size 18. And once you got into the X's, they lost style, they lost everything. And somewhere along the line, it was people started going and tailoring their clothes and putting themselves away, and the people caught up. But it's interesting. I missed a couple of seconds. I'm sorry about that. But it's really important to me to highlight that if someone is a 4X and she wants to wear a suit, I want her to have a suit to go buy. I don't want to have her go get some big oversized cutout with arms, and wear a drape. And I'm not being crass on purpose. We call them moo-moos for a reason. They really, if you were a woman of a particular size, you were just cast away.
As big as a
And
camel.
now we've got Shein and I can't name them all, but all of these places. And if you are over a particular size, Timu and all these, you can go buy your shorts, you can go buy your dress, you can go buy your girdle. And we should not have luxuries and comforts available to people because of a size. And it's not a 600-pound life. It's not trying to figure out how to create a shoe for a person who is off the scale. But even them, they shouldn't be treated with cruelty. The question that I have for you, well, I want to make a statement, and then I want to ask you a question, Carmel. Like earlier today, I made a comment on a post, and I was thinking about you, Maisha, when I did it, because I said this is gonna mess up my algorithm. But they're talking about Serena Williams, and they were being rude and talking about her size and calling her names. And I said, that woman has baby weight on her, bad makeup, and bad lighting. And that's that. Not she's gone and tried to shift. She's created humans and her body has changed. She's aged, her body has changed. Things that you've said. And to sit here and attack her because she is not the stealth beast of her youth, her pre-married, pre-mommy, pre-multiple grand slams body, it's really cruel to me. And they're showing the before and after. I do not look like my prom picture. So you could before and after all of us. Like it's just crazy. My mother was a size small. I don't remember skipping over. But when people meet her through her life, they're still like, oh, your mother's a lovely lady. And, thank you is the answer. So the question that I want to get to, because we're talking about, you were talking about obesity and the body positivity. Are you talking about the women who are just enjoying the availability of, I don't know, their comforts? I want to ask something and I don't know how to get the question out, because I want to know what it is that you think about in a non-judgmental way. Whatever answer it is, I got no judgment. But what is it about the people that you saw, their degree of obesity, and us knowing that whether I was 400 pounds or 40 pounds overweight, you, Carmel, would still talk to all of us, all the versions of us, and say, are you eating healthy? Because your skinnier version of you found out you weren't healthy. So what is it you would like to say to that particular segment? What is it about them that causes you concern? And what would you like to say to that segment of people?
Oh, thanks for that. So I saw women who looked very, very positive and very confident. Didn't have a conversation, right? And thought that was very interesting. And I'm seeing a whole generation, newer generation of these people. I grew up with curvy people, with women, and I've not seen anything like this before. And it's causing concern
Could
because
you
I
expand
know
on
that.
this? What is this? Go deeper.
When I say that I have not seen what I'm seeing,
Yeah. You said I
the
haven't seen
obesity,
anything like this before. What is this?
the obesity, the extra large, the I can't
Bigger
fit
than
in a
me?
seat. I'm sorry.
Bigger than me?
Oh my gosh, three times you, right?
Okay.
So thank you for pulling that out, because I do watch my words, and
Because
I
I'm
do try to
obese.
be sensitive
So
I am
sensitive to
too.
it.
so according to
That's
Oh,
me,
but that
if I go
I'm
by my
obese.
BMI, I'm so
BMI,
obese.
BMI,
I don't do the
I am
BMI.
too, according to that. Yeah.
BMI
according
is
to
a
the
liar.
BMI. So yeah, no, three times you, Shellie, where they can't fit in a seat, right? And if the seat handles go up, the handles have to go up.
Right.
Where the quality of life is limited because of it, right? Where they're at, I'm gonna watch my words, but I've not seen so many people in one room that look the same. I'm worried and concerned for our people,
Okay.
right? And because I know that this is something that can be managed with health, nutrition.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I preface this by saying not everybody has access. Again, I did not speak to these women. I don't know what their access and availability is. It's just a cause for concern, had me thinking, how can I do this better? How can I reach people? How can I know I can't do it myself? How can these people hear and see that this is leading down a path of because if they can't pay for their groceries in that way, they're going to pay in other ways. Lack of experiencing life, the fact that they're going to put their family and friends, their loved ones, in a position where they'll be mourning them early or having to take care of them for the rest of their lives. Being in a position where they are passing these ideas and these recipes and this mindset down to another generation.
Mm-hmm.
How does it get better? Where does it get better? And the fact that they're walking around so confident, again, a beautiful thing.
Mm-hmm.
But will others see it and say, well, you know what? It's all good. Like, look how good they're living their lives, living their best lives. And yet, not as healthy as they can be.
And how does
Right?
that
I
make
don't
you
have the
feel?
answers.
Let's pull a Carmel. How does that make you feel?
How does
How
what
does
make
that
me
make you
feel?
feel? What you just said, what you witnessed, how does it make you feel?
Concerned. Deeply, deeply concerned. Like I said, how do I get to people's ears? How do I
I
help?
think
How
you're
do I
starting. I
I
think you're doing a good
Yeah,
job with
just
getting to
continue
people's
doing what you're
ears,
doing.
and you're putting out a consistent message. You are having consistent results with those of us who put ourselves in your hands, and that is a secret that needs to get out. We keep encouraging you to talk about the cooking and the food, because look at how I responded to the 3-color quinoa. I said I wasn't enjoying the quinoa, and then you watched me there happily gobble up my quinoa. We need the lessons, and we live in a society that is training us to covet and love money and food. So maybe you make your mission to teach us new foods to covet and love, and teach us how to prepare it, because everybody's macaroni and cheese ain't mama's or TT's macaroni and cheese. And you know, keep sharing sharing the message is what I want to put out, because sharing the concern without sharing your magic, for me, is an incomplete conversation.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
so when you say, so it's interesting, right? Because food, I think, is interesting because people will jump on some kind of a 30-day plan, get all kinds of recipes and not do anything with them. So I don't believe in sharing food in that way. Yeah, I have my recipes online on the YouTube channel. I have a few of the things that I do on there, but nobody, they watch it. They watch it. Everybody's woken up maybe to something, and they fell asleep with the TV on, and you wake up to the Food Network, and somebody's cooking, and you're watching, right? And I feel like, and I know from experience because I've shared recipes before, and yeah, I tried it, right? Or people have to understand that there's a dynamic, there's a way to be in the kitchen and to make things their own. Just because this food tastes good in my mouth, it's going to be tasteless to the person who just had McDonald's. It's not going to be the same, right? So I can share tips and tricks as I've done. I've got a ton of recipes on my YouTube channel. Nobody's coming to me and saying, Carmel, that was great. Every once in a while, yes. Every once in a while, yes. But they're not going to like what I'm talking about. If I say SOS free, try this recipe, who's going to want to cook without salt, oil, and sugar? Unless they've been in a place where their backs are against the wall and the doctor says if you don't change, if you don't change, you're not going to be here for much longer. Then they might consider my recipes. Who else is going to consider my recipes? Realistically speaking, Shellie.
Well,
But
so maybe.
just keep at it. It's so we push this conversation in a particular direction. You are
It's okay.
typically 100% positive, and you're being positive, but you're still limiting. And I've told you, I'll share with you guys. I talk to Carmel all the time about liking my food. People have closets full of clothes and kitchens full of all kinds of stuff. We wear the same clothes and we eat the same food. That is a
Yes.
statistical fact.
Yes.
We everybody's got that favorite pair of jeans, and you're like, girl, do you have another pair of jeans? I have 18 pairs of jeans, but these are my favorites. You wash them, you wear them. You wash them, you wear them. The food, you said, turn your fridge into a buffet. And when it is easy, when we are running and doing all kinds of stuff, I told Jemecia, I am painfully tired right now. The When it comes to me going in the kitchen to eat in a few minutes, if it is not easy, whatever is the easiest thing is what's going to wind up in my mouth. So I want to argue with you and say that I hope you get back to discovering and sharing the delectable recipes so that whichever handful of us that you impact, that you can keep saving lives with what you know. And that I'll leave you alone on that.
No, that's fine. But I've shared recipes, Shelly, in our group.
Yes, you have, and keep sharing them on YouTube and with the rest of the world. People need to.
Yes.
One day you're
Yes.
going to
No,
share recipes, and that recipe is going to go and hit 18 million people. When the last 50 you shared hit 18 people, and then you're going to get one that's going to hit 18,000 or
yeah,
18 million, and you're going to say, why that one? But it's just how it goes. So just keep
that's
going.
how it goes. Yeah.
Mhm.
No, 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 no. I'm low key working on my recipe book. I really am.
We always talk about tips, but this is a hard one to give tips on. But I didn't want to end our conversation without talking about the fact that what we eat can taste good and be healthy for us. And that if we don't want to change our lifestyles that much, but we want to talk about maybe making some changes, because there's people who are going to listen to this who are overweight, who are obese, who do want to make changes. And I just felt like we should talk for a split second about the fact that what we eat, how we eat, when we eat matters, and that we should keep educating ourselves, not necessarily saying, oh, I'm gonna give up bikinis and maxi dresses, but hey, maybe I'm gonna go from a 4X to a 2X to an XL, and all I did was give up oil or sugar, or for some people SOS might be extreme. Pick a letter, pick one of the
Mhm.
letters,
Mhm. Right.
and just work on it in baby steps, and work on being a healthier version of yourself. If you are large and healthy, your doctor's giving you thumbs up like I was, and my doctor's saying keep doing what you're doing, but I'm still in a size 16, then so be it. But if you're a size 16, 18, 12, and the doctor says you're not healthy, shifting away in what we put in our mouths can have a huge impact on us,
And
especially the
even if you're
sugar.
size 4, and the
Even if you're
doctor's
size
saying, yeah,
4, I I never looked into the impact of salt, of oil, or sugar before joining BCHG, before listening to your lessons. And maybe when we come back on Wednesday, we could talk more about the impact of the food we eat. Hint, hint. I don't know. Just
Yeah,
part
there's
two.
a lot to it. There's a lot to it.
There's
Yeah, I
lots
was
to
just
it for
gonna say,
sure.
I think the focus, it's funny, the very first class I ever did, the very first coaching program I ever did was in 2014, and it was telling women to ditch the scale.
Mm-hmm.
That was the first class I did, because I think that if we want to help women get healthier, there's so many components. The scale is the last thing to look at, because it causes so much stress for so many people. And the question is, can you walk up the stairs without pain? Can you walk around the block without feeling winded? You know, how are you sleeping better? Are your headaches gone? Is your skin clearing up? I think if the focus is on those pieces versus weight, size, look,
Mhm.
it has such a different effect. And women, honestly, like, especially if you're dealing with, if you're 47, you're dealing with 47 years of habits. You need at least 3 months to really start working through those habits. The first month is, oh shit, my habits aren't that great. The second month is,
Recognizing.
okay, I think I need to try some new things. The third month is, okay, I think these new things are working.
Mhm.
Because there are so many layers, especially for Black women, when it comes to food. It's not just that the food tastes good. The food ties us to a
Mhm.
culture that many of us don't want to give up because we feel like it's the only thing we have.
It's
I don't
home.
care if you're from North Carolina,
I'm telling you that.
Haiti, Jamaica, Trinidad,
It's
Kenya.
history.
Your food, yes, is your
Yeah, don't
whole
take my history from
identity.
me.
And so, if we're going to invite people, and it is an invitation, if we're going to invite people to shift how they eat, instead of taking away, which makes people feel like they're being deprived,
Yep.
what can we do instead
Mm-hmm.
of,
Mhm.
what are
Mhm.
your favorite recipes? How can they be tweaked? Let's partner together and see
Mhm.
what we can do to make this healthier before I take your whole entire life away. Because when the kids are up your ass, when some dude is in your face, when you're dealing with microaggressions at work, that plan will fly out the window 4 days in,
Mhm.
because it isn't just about the food, it's what the food provides for you. As soon as auntie so and so says, baby, you're not going to eat any of my pie, and you don't have the tools to deal with the family stress, when you're like, no.
And she puts it
Mhm.
in front of you anyway.
And she put it, and that's real. That happens to so many people. You be doing great on your own over here, but as soon as you step into the family situation and they offer you some couscous, some this, some that, and you're like, how am I supposed to say no to my great grandmother? If you
Mm-hmm.
don't have those tools, it flies out the window. So it's such a layered approach. And I mean, and I am saying this as someone who worked in gyms and had my own private practice. It's such a layered approach. And the stories I would hear that women would tell me about what it meant to just not eat fried chicken, and what that meant to their family was and what it meant for their identity was such a big deal. It's such a process. It's a long game. And the one thing I will say is, the easiest way to not get burnt out whenever working with anyone in terms of shifting their life is to say, I'm just offering, but I can't save a damn person. I can't I and I'm not responsible for saving anyone, no
Anyone
matter
else?
my mother. I'm not responsible for saving people from smoking. I can't do it, no matter how painful it was that my mother died from lung cancer. I will stress myself, and then that's not healthy for me. So when
Mhm.
people are ready,
When
they'll
people are
come.
ready, that's the only time it's going to happen. Not That's number one. Number two, Maisha, I got to tell you, everything that you said, I agree with, right? However, if the doctor says you better lay off that fried chicken, because I guarantee you, the people who care enough about their lives and about conditions, they will stop with the fried chicken. They will.
For sure.
But that's the difference between a doctor saying it and Coach Carmel, right? So although I agree with you, like, oh, the fried chicken means this to somebody's culture and this to somebody's upbringing and stuff like, and things like that. If the doctor says, listen, you're one chicken away from a stroke, best believe the chicken's gone.
And see,
and that's when people have to understand that it's that serious.
Yeah,
in
but you
order
don't fight
for
over the chicken. You don't fight over the chicken because you're right. You're right. If the doctor says it, they might do that for a month. Honestly, they might.
Oh yeah.
If you say it and they're not gonna, you don't fight over the chicken. You find something else, is what I'm saying.
100%. 100%.
And if they want to pay you to feel good about themselves, again, it's on them.
Mm-hmm.
I've trained many people who don't adhere to what I say, right? Mm-hmm. So of course, there's no unless I'm cooking for them and they bring me in and pay me to live with them and cook for them. And there's nothing I can do. I can just make the suggestions. That's all I can do.
Listen,
and no, I sleep at night.
Listen, I think I told you this before. If you decide to have that service, because really that's what it is. Because like Shellie said, and I'll be honest with you.
No. I've been thinking about it. How do I get into somebody's house and cook for them? Yeah. No, I've been thinking.
There's people who do that. I want to.
I know.
Chef. and then people will eat healthy when the food is healthily prepared and put in front of them.
Yes. Yes, that's why I want to share.
If they have to do it themselves after they come home from lunch, from work, you come home from work and then you got to cook, or you got to spend a whole day prepping, and you got family and friends.
Yes.
Girl,
I understand all of that.
To pay you to listen, for $150,000, I'm looking for two clients.
What I'm saying.
I'm looking for two clients. My annual fee is $150,000. The contract is for 12 months.
Sounds so lovely. Even Jesus didn't make anyone follow him. Very true.
Oh yeah, that's so super true.
No,
but
look,
but I was drinking coffee the other day, and my doctors told me not to drink coffee, and I'm like, okay, but it's decaf, but it's still coffee, and I had to sit down and I looked at a cup in my hands because I took one, then I had another one. And then when I got to the third one, not at one time, I'm like, so you doing this? You're not doing this? What you doing? And I let it go again. But I also have ordered myself some teas. So I have, leaf certain teas that I've ordered, and I'm gonna learn how to make myself a new concoction. But it's a time. They're in there unopened, and it's taken. I'm 55 years old. A doctor must have told me at least 10 years ago to stop drinking coffee. So
real quick, Shellie, try the reishi mushroom coffee. It tastes like coffee, but it's not.
I've been trying 2 different mushroom coffees, and I haven't liked it. But if you want me to try another one, I'll try another one.
I love that Shelley's so open.
It's one of those things that knowing right and wrong, having the will to do it, having the support to do it, having the knowledge to do it, having the energy after all of it to do it. It's a matter of will. And
yes, I think and it's key also for the community, for the support. That's a big part of it. That's such a huge part of it, because then again, we have to understand and realize that there's a lot of moving parts to our health and wellness. And Shellie, you're a great example of that, because Shellie, you made sure that you're doing this, and because you know that it's more than just food and squats. And when you know that, and then you try to lessen the stress and include the meditation and exclude the toxic people in your lives, all of those make a huge difference. See the therapist that you need to see. Find out where the trauma stems from. All of those things.
Change your cleaning products. Use a different soap. Change your lotion. Stop. Listen. Use a different toothpaste. Stop the fluoride.
The whole world is toxic right now. We're all just doing our best to live in it and survive.
And it's taking it step by step. It really
So,
is.
you know what I want to say? I think it's important. We have diet conversations in this house, and there's a fact in my house. What's bad for me is the exact thing my mother needs. So, our diets are upside down. So, this is why it's so important to say that it's individual, because and why I whine about having to cook 4 meals for 4 different people. But when we're looking, there's no cookie cutter solutions to any of this. Whether we're talking about it from one angle or the next, we all just have to do our best to survive and thrive. But I would ask that we all do it with as much kindness as possible, because my y'all see my mother's a larger woman. She's lost weight though, so we're both about the same size now, but once upon a time she was almost 100 pounds at her small frame, almost 100 pounds larger.
Mm.
But she'd be the first one to talk about somebody being fat, and I'm the last one saying, oh, wait, did, did you just say what you said? So, can we lead with love a little bit
Hmm.
more?
For
That
sure.
that's
Yeah.
that's the prayer. Just
Yeah.
take a deep breath, fuss when you need to fuss, but just lead with love as often as possible, and the world will be a little bit better.
And that's
I
interesting
think that.
to say that, because that's really why we're here,
Mm,
because it's just been so negative and so nasty.
mm, yes,
Yeah.
I agree. I think this is a good place. I think those are two really profound statements for us to take away with. Um, and I think, again, I will reiterate body positivity. That trend, I believe, was needed. And it serves to the people who understand the idea and the concept. It serves them well. Some people are taking it to different extremes, as with anything and everything. And the individuality when it comes to to the way we eat, and to the way we deal with stress, and to the way we exercise and how much we exercise, that is to be taken and considered. We have to care enough about what our body does for us and provide it for it accordingly. Take care of your body will take care of you. All of those things. Everything can be taken in increments. It will seem too big and too overwhelming for most, and everything is incremental and step by step. Have the people around you, your support system, your team, your vibe, your clan, everybody around you who will be there for you when you feel at your weakest. And I feel like those are the things that will help us through, no matter how far we have to go or how little we have to go.
Mm.
That's how I feel about it. If anybody else has any parting words.
Great conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this
And
was good.
I don't think this could be just one conversation, like Shelly
No,
said. It
no.
should, we should conquer some of the other things that are,
Yeah.
within this conversation.
Yeah, there are definitely a lot of moving parts.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, with that said, thank you, ladies, for indulging me with this topic. I love hearing everybody's perspectives, including Dayton and the other, I think, young lady that was on here. But yeah, so thank you for that. And with that, I think I think we're done. I think we've come to a close. And we're gonna see you Wednesday evening. So yes, so Wednesday evening, same bat channel, same bat time, maybe multiple channels. We'll see how it goes by then. And Black Coffee, Honey, and Grits, we are having an event in November. What did we call it, guys? I can't remember.
Grits and Grace.
Grace.
So easy. And I think I'm the one who was just like, hey, let's try Grits and Grace. Grits and Grace. Great talk. Thank you, Maurice. Thank you. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Kathy. So yeah, so we are having an event. We're taking our brunch to the next level. We're talking entrepreneurship, we're talking business, we're talking showing up to do the things that we want to do as women who, we just gotta we got it going on. And sometimes we have to sometimes we have to take it to the next step. And that's what we're encouraging each other to do. And come November, that's what we're encouraging you to do as well. We want to be there with you, for you. And let's collaborate, come together, as well as break bread, all the good things. And stay tuned for more information on that. And jump onto blackcoffeehoneyandgrits.com. Is that what we are? Is that where we are? Yeah. And register, get on our mailing list so that you're updated on where we are, when we are, and all the other good things. So with that, I think I'm going to close it out, and we're going to see each other Wednesday evening at 6:30.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.